I appreciate the title of my talk. I hope in about 30 minutes you do too. I should disclose a prejudice up front. I believe that radio is intrinsically a good business that will continue to grow in coming years, and that the radio to audio journey will be highly rewarding for those of us who are curious to exploit the opportunities arising out of listening, moving to new places and spaces. In essence, I think it is our time. We believe in the power of sound, in its ability to make people's worlds sound better, and we have exciting times ahead. The reason for this confidence, this belief, is that we are the people who know how to make content compelling without a screen. So the question about my personal journey in radio got me thinking, where did it start? My father, a Dubliner, had a serious radio habit. In the 1970s, radio was a soothing, silky, calm, and constant presence in our North London flat. Terry Wogan came for breakfast every morning. He was funny. He was quick. He became a family friend. His effortless riffing on the letters from his togs became part of our daily routine. Our breakfast table became very large. In 1980, Wogan was exercised by Who Shot JR. But in the late 1970s, as inflation reached a 6-year low at 8.3%, and unemployment reached a post-war peak of 1.5 million, Wogan started a movement which captivated the imagination of Mum, Dad, my brother, my sister, and myself. It brought early morning laughter, painted incredible pictures in our minds, and brought much needed warmth during the winters of discontent. Wogan was a committed supporter of TV's Petrocelli. For younger members of the audience today, Petrocelli was a lawyer from New York who decamped to Arizona to de-stress in the wide open plains and practice law. Unfortunately, this great open space had a bad crime problem. And by bad, I mean terrible. It meant our eponymous lawyer was landed seemingly futile weekly cases, fighting damning evidence, damaging confessions, sensational murder trials, and kidnappings. However, to Wogan's constant amazement, each week the nailed-on defendant was exonerated by Petrocelli's brilliance at seeing what had really happened. But Wogan also alerted the nation to something else. All of this legal sorcery was doing nothing to further Petrocelli's progress on building his beloved ranch. To give you context, Gaudi's Sagrada Familia in Barcelona was suddenly looking on time and on budget. Wogan single-handedly galvanized his 8 million strong audience in a campaign to each send a brick to Petrocelli in a bid to speed up the progress. Granted, he failed to consider the postage, packaging, and tariffs, but this was well before any post-Brexit UK-US trade deal. It didn't succeed. The ranch was never, ever finished. But what it did do was engage my family and take us away from the drudgery of a grey North London. We look forward to the latest detail in the caper, a weekly update in his obviously futile campaign, and we were transported to both Broadcasting House and San Remo, both far more glamorous than our flat. This symbolises the power of radio as a leveller and a unifier. He taught, we listened, we laughed, we exercised our imaginations. Looking back at 15-year-old me, I didn't think I'd ever be here in this beautiful city, recounting a story how one of your fine countrymen sparked my lifelong passion for this captivating medium. So jump forward a few years from that breakfast table, and in 2005, having worked as a journalist, editor and publisher at EMAP, I started working in radio with D. Ford. We had just acquired Scottish Radio Holdings, and for a brief time operated here with Today FM. But fearing the Celtic Tiger couldn't maintain its pace, we decided we would focus on the north instead. EMAP was a very exciting place to be. Its DNA was meritocratic and maverick, and it had a model in which responsibility was highly devolved. Back then, EMAP's radio business was essentially local heritage stations across the north of England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. We had London FM licenses for Kiss and Magic, which we'd relaunched from Melody, and EMAP had invested in the first wave of DAB, multiplex licenses in 2000, incentivised to do so by the renewal of our FM licenses and lighter regulation of DAB content. In 2007, Bauer Media Group, privately owned by multiple generations of one family based in Hamburg, entered the radio industry through the acquisition of RMF FM in Poland, which celebrated its 30th birthday last month with all-time highs in reach and revenues. In 2008, Bauer Media Group acquired EMAP Radio, and myself and the team transitioned from a public company, essentially reporting quarterly to a restless shareholder base, to a private company with a single shareholder, with a long-term vision, and none of the bureaucracy and corporate apparatus demanded by the public market. This brought a consistency of direction, agility in making decisions, and a preparedness to invest for the long term, which would prove game-changing. We set out with Bauer to transform our radio business, digital and analog, national and local. The financial crisis of 2008 was a severe test and drove us to develop new consumer revenue streams, for example, listener services, on-air competitions, and affiliate-style partnerships. These consumer revenues remain one of the major engines of our financial strength today. This diversification was the first step into the transformation. Acquiring Planet Rock in 2012 was the next. And with Absolute Radio in 2013, we would acquire a team, a brand, and a challenger spirit. At EMAP, we had learned that the size of the budget and the scale of the creativity could be, most likely were, in inverse proportion. Wow. This was so clearly evident at Absolute, and I'm very proud of the fact that so many of the people who joined us back then are with us now, in bigger roles, writing the next chapter in the Absolute victory log. Bauer entered Slovakia in 2013, acquiring Radio Express, the market-leading station in one of Europe's fastest-growing economies. Buying radio stations from a TV company was not an explicit part of the strategy, but it proved a winning move in 2015 when we acquired SBS Radio, the Nordics' leading commercial radio business, market-leading in Sweden, Denmark, and now Finland. We're still working our way through the disruption of the switchover of, or the switch off of FM in Norway, which has proven a severe test of radio's resilience. But I am pleased to report it is a test that will be met. So from this platform, we have built Europe's leading commercial broadcaster, operating in 7 countries with more than 25 million daily listeners, more than 100 radio brands and 2,000 people. This scale allows us to move talent, experience, and best practice across borders, collaborate on initiatives to drive consumer engagement, and share technology to power our growing digital audio business. The success of Bauer Media Audio and what Bauer is now is a product of three levers. The first, smart distribution, has been the accelerant. For some time now, the future of radio has been non-binary. Radio has proven to be highly adaptive, successively colonizing new platforms. Radio on digital TV, radio through the browser, radio chips in mobile phones, radio through mobile apps on smartphones, and so now to smart speakers. Whilst DAB has made the UK market more competitive than ever, it has enabled and driven innovation at scale. But it was not always clear that it would get established. In fact, in 2011, when we were renewing those multiplex licenses for a second 12-year period, DAB was stuck. Too many sets in use to switch it off, but adoption and usage had stalled, suggesting it was not going to scale. However, encouraged by Ofcom and in partnership with the government, Arqiva, and combined with support from the BBC, we invested and created meaningful local and national DAB distribution. We were also invested in the rather basic idea that it would be good to have a digital device in households bearing the name radio. The garden, if you like, would be very much bigger, but it had walls. This has proven to be a no-regrets investment, but it demanded of the main actors in the UK a preparedness to set aside short-term needs and immediate rivalries to focus together on the long-term health of the industry. DAB has played a part in levelling the playing field with the BBC and unleashed creativity and innovation both nationally and locally. Today, Bauer Media has more than, in the UK, 74% of its audience listening via a digital device. DAB is now more than half of all of our listening. FM is no longer the backbone of our business. Our fastest growing platform is audio streamed over the internet to a connected device and accounts for 17% of our listening. We believe that this ecosystem, this multi-platform ecosystem, is the future. Audio is now the #1 media used on mobile devices. And on these devices, we can personalize, we can offer the listener more control, we will get to know the audience better. As the audience becomes more addressable, we will offer them and our commercial partners more relevant, more targeted, and more value-creating communications. The research consultancy Edison has said the smart speaker is the fastest-growing consumer technology ever. I hope you don't think that voice assistants and smart speakers are a novelty. We think they are here to stay. The smart speaker is a way of reinforcing and evolving our position in the home. Research from the Radio Centre shows that 77% of Amazon Echo users use their device to listen to radio, and for the Bauer UK business, it presents a rich opportunity for innovation. It offers the potential for us to advance two-way conversations with listeners live in an increasingly connected home environment as consumers begin to interact in completely new and exciting ways. The decision to build and be the first to launch our own Bauer Radio Alexa skills is another no-regrets decision. That's our first lever. The second is distinctive content combined with clear, simple, targeted propositions. And smart distribution Those two things make amazing things happening. Connected radio in combination with DAB has enabled us to extend our reach, so we've been able to offer listeners more choice, allow more control, and enable the superfans an unadulterated, pure experience. History, which we launched in 2013 for fans of old school and anthems, now has a weekly audience of 2.2 million, up almost a quarter on last year. Kiss Fresh, also launched in 2013, playing the very latest and biggest tracks from the world of hip-hop, R&B, EDM, house and garage. Magic has also extended its appeal with 5 million listeners across the network, and its brand extensions, Mellow Magic, Magic Soul, Magic Chilled, and the latest, Magic at the Musicals, reflects growing interest in musical films and robust theatre-going figures. Last year, we expanded that even further with more online radio stations such as Kiss Dance, Kiss Ibiza, and Classic Kerrang Radio. The success of Downtown Country in Northern Ireland led to the launch in the UK of Country Hits, which celebrates an exciting and growing music scene, playing the very best pop country music with no hats, no horses. This brings the UK's fastest growing music genre into the mainstream, with a growing audience of 250,000. And a need to broaden the demographic of our audience led to our boldest launch yet. Scala Radio launched in March and is a brand new entertainment radio station that breaks the mold of classical radio in the UK. Again, reflecting explosive growth in the genre and an ever-increasing crossover into the mainstream, fronted by presenters Simon Mayo, Angelica Bell, and Mark Kermode. And today, Absolute Radio is unveiling the next step in its digital audio innovation strategy with the launch of another new station, Absolute Radio 20s. Dedicated to brand new music released this decade, this new station will join the network's much-loved family of 8 stations, aimed at listeners who crave even more from their favourite radio station. They can expect songs from the likes of Billie Eilish, Haim, Lewis Capaldi, Bombay Bicycle Club from this exciting new station that will live exclusively online. All these stations were born out of insight and an understanding of audiences, which identified opportunities for new distinctive radio stations not currently on offer. The third lever, our culture, has proven a vital contributor to our growth. The way that we think and the culture that we foster at Bauer is what will make it a great place to do great work. But what does that actually mean? It means looking at the internet as a friend rather than a threat, created a desire to explore and extend rather than defend. Thus, we have embraced the new without fear. If cannibalization happens, better it's from within than from the outside. We are motivated by entrepreneurialism and innovation, and this extends internationally. In Finland, we're playing a role in helping marketers engage with customers in new ways with a new business offering soundscaping and sonic brand creation. Incidentally, Radio Nova is the first Finnish radio station run only using solar power, and we're now the proud holders of a WWF Green Office certificate. In Sweden, our team have developed a successful podcast business, complementary to our core broadcast radio. Indeed, 2/3 of our digital audience, that includes people listening to our digital radio or podcast products, are new to Bauer, not reached by our existing FM services. In Poland, we're trialling now build your own stations with a choice of presenters, music and podcast content. Leveraging the music choices from over 100 online radio stations combined with deeply trusted news to give listeners a personalized experience. And in Slovakia, we offer complementary audience experiences with our on-air contests, experimenting with optimization through insight around context, topicality, and prizes. So we encourage a pioneer's mindset to spot and be early on investments such as InStream, which enables us to offer connected listeners more music and digital advertisers more clarity on the context of their communication. Or software, which shares a live program across 7 channels, such as the Dave Berry Breakfast Show on Absolute Radio. And now I can see that the growth of digital voice activation, digital assistants, and new smart connected devices will create new business for us all if we can leverage our understanding of the power of sound to help brands and marketeers. A last element of the culture we want to build is around constant curiosity. How will listening change in future? How do we maintain direct relationship with listeners and advertisers? How do we re-engage younger audiences? How do we maintain our visibility in car? How do we shape the regulatory agenda to level the playing field with public broadcasters and avoid new, wasteful duplication of services the commercial sector can provide? These questions should be live in our organisations, and we must think about where and how we might cooperate in future. Undoubtedly, the journey so far has not always been smooth. Our industry has challenges ahead, managing the rising costs of distribution or the people and human consequences of deregulation. But I think the strengths of radio are more valuable than ever. In a world where privacy, brand safety, our children's safety, cyberbullying, screen junkies, fake news, algorithms, deep fakes, exploitation, oversaturation, mental health and digital isolation rightly question where we are as a society headed, radio matters even more now. As we have discussed, some things have changed, but much has stayed exactly the same. The passive, curated, always there, live and spontaneous experience is available for free. It may now be at the launch of an app or an Alexa command, but our offer of effortless access to companionship, community, intimacy, and the joy and emotion of music will continue to be valued way past our lifetime. And our role extends beyond entertainment. The news we provide is trusted. Let's not underestimate the role we can and do play in the underpinning of a healthy democracy. People need to understand provenance to trust their news. In places where the provenance is hidden, where the news is paid for content, radio plays an ever increasing, if not vital, role in telling people what is happening and why. This trust is evident, measured, and proven. Research from the European Commission has confirmed that radio is still the most trusted medium in Europe. Radio offers great ROI and effectiveness for advertisers, a brand-safe environment. Without constant requests to accept cookies, radio is unskippable, unblockable, and unbeatable, with 100% real and not fake followers. It offers highly effective long-term brand building, and the Radio Centre's Ubiquity research demands a reappraisal of radio's role in the marketing mix. And that research has started many new and many productive conversations. So radio is adapting well to a connected world, bigger world of audio, dominated by screens because it understands the power of sound. And unlike so many other so-called traditional media platforms, the radio business model is not broken by the internet. So from that breakfast table in North London to here, what have I learnt? Let's celebrate the live experience. It's still about the dinner, not the plate, to quote again the peerless Douglas Adams, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Let's leverage our trust. No fake news here. No ad placement which destroys the customer's brand equity. The ad environment here is safe and sound and has proved to be a brilliantly effective brand-building medium for advertisers. We should launch new products and services. Innovation drives interest from listeners and advertisers. It's all about being different and better, and radio can be fresh and surprising, evolving and attention-seeking. For our commercial partners, we understand the importance of context in relation to sound. We understand the rhythms of life. Let's put those skills to use and help more brands leverage the power of sound. We must invest in brand management. As connected devices multiply opportunities to listen, we can no longer rely on easy discovery in our walled FM garden. Listeners must see our brands and our offer as a beacon of quality, so that when they go to voice search, we are on their lips as first choice for entertainment, music, and companionship. We should innovate in distribution, talent, and creativity to stay relevant to younger audiences. It is not build it and they will come. It is build it and take it to them, wherever, however, and whenever they want it. We should prioritize distribution on owned and operated platforms and invest in, at the same time, our relationship with Amazon and other platforms which make it easy for consumers to listen to our content. We will convert our unknown audiences to known, prioritizing platforms where we can build an all-round, intimate relationship with the listener. A logged-in listener is going to be more engaged, more loyal, and more invested in what we do. We should prepare to practice all we have learned in audio for a world in which voice leads search and discovery. Let's create the sweet spot where the live experience and listener personalization converge. Let's not underestimate the power of the live offer and the curated experience. It is something streaming platforms cannot currently emulate. However, we should anticipate that they will try, so we need to take it to the next level. Terry Wogan's legacy will live on, but the game has changed. We must be prepared to think differently and challenge ourselves to reinvent how we work. It is vital that we deliver what we do well and are loved for, but we must also pursue the new with openness and courage. We must go to new places and spaces where we must do new things. No denial, no defensiveness, not wishing how it was, making a future with optimism and determination to make our future successful. It is time to be more innovative, outward-looking, inclusive, and focused than we've been before. It's going to be hard work, but it will continue to be exciting, rewarding, and our best work yet. In closing, I'd like to reflect on two incredible, very recent moments where the power of radio really shone through. Nobody can fail to have been moved by Laura Whitmore's opening monologue on BBC Radio 5 Live on the morning after Caroline Flack's tragic death. Almost simultaneously on Radio 4, Ian Wright was also moving an audience to tears as he delivered his Desert Island Discs, talking so beautifully about his teacher, Mr. Pigden. We all have a bond with our radio. We love radio because of its simplicity. It allows you to paint your own pictures, create a landscape which is yours and yours alone, transporting you into your imagination, or in my case, via Terry Wogan, to the raw wilderness of Arizona and Petrocelli's part-built ranch. Thank you very much.